All right, well, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Bound by Banking. Today, we are joined by Mandy Bradshaw. Thank you for joining us today, Mandy. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you, Ryan?
Doing fantastic, fantastic. So, well, Mandy, why don't you take a moment or two and kind of introduce yourself, let people know what you do there at First Bank of the Lake.
Yeah, so I am the content marketing specialist here at First Bank of the Lake, and I've been here for a few months. And my main priority is to, you know, create the content that we use for our website, and also to build relationships with others, chambers of commerce and other community partners that are, boots on the ground with small business lending.
Very cool, very good. So, you've been there for a couple months. Are you starting to get your legs underneath you and everything? I know the first few months of any job is just kind of learning the new roles of everything. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely into a nice little groove now.
nice. Very good. Very cool. Well, all right, Mandy, if you are ready, we'll go ahead and hop into some questions. How about?
Sounds great.
Cool. All right, so first question I have for you is what data and insights do you rely on most when making decisions on growth and marketing and things like that?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. So to start out with, the product mix and what it is that you are going to be marketing, it's definitely a team effort, both internal and external stakeholders. We all have to come together and decide what it is that we want to target. And then, once we do that, then we can get started by using data and insights and, plans that worked last time and what didn't work last time to get things started. And then, really what it is that you're marketing drives a lot of your strategy. So there's a huge difference between marketing CDs or a
Hmm.
business loan.
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
Definitely. CDs, they're quick. Rate changes, you get rate shoppers, and so you're going to be targeting those people and that market in one way. Business loans or business deposit products, they're going to be a little bit more expensive. If you're doing digital ads, it's a longer sales cycle. So the marketing for that is very different from CDs. And one of the things that I work with a lot and have worked with a lot in my career is Google Ads. So
Yep.
let's talk about Google Ads for just a minute when we talk about data and insights. Um, so what I think people need to really get a good foundation of is, Google Ads, they need data. They need to know what types of consumers are looking at your products, who it is that's actually opening an account or filling out a lead form. So it takes a good 90 days to when you start a new campaign to get that good data that you need. So at first, you're looking at a specific metric, which is impressions. You want to see those impressions growing.
Hmm.
And that's data, that's insight, that's success. But that's not where you stay. You don't want to stay at, yes, we're getting impressions and
Right.
nothing else. um, you want, Google to learn which of the potential customers actually click on your ads. And that usually starts happening mid month one into month two. And then you start flowing into the data of leads. So the thing that I think is super fascinating is as Google starts finding the right people that are going to actually, fill out the lead form or open an account, you're going to see your impressions level out and sometimes even dip down. And that could be a little concerning, but it's not. And that's what fascinated me when I was learning about Google Ads is the impressions are actually going to start to go down a little bit. And that means your clicks, if your clicks are going up,
Hmm.
you're finding the right people
Yep.
and you're serving your ads to the right people. So you have all this data that you can look at, and it's important to understand how each part works and how it's telling you the story of whether or not your marketing campaign is successful.
Yeah. And you have a very good point there. When the impressions start going down, but the clicks go up, that to me tells you that you're no longer just throwing a big wide net and seeing what you can catch. You're now starting to get very precise with your targeting and who is clicking over, which is good. That's what you want to see. I mean, that tells you that the ads are hitting the right people. The message is very good. I mean, this is where A/B testing can come in, and when you start dealing with better data in, you're going to start performing with better data out. And so, being able to track everything is, I think that just goes to show the momentum and everything like you were taking. It does take a couple months to get these campaigns up and running. It's not an overnight success where people are like,
Mhm.
all right, I put a budget in there, I built a campaign, like, where are my leads at?
Here we
It's
go.
sort of, yes, it does take time, but as the system learns, I always tell people it's like a dating phase.
Mhm.
Google and you are dating. You have to get to know each other, and as time goes on, you get to know each other much better. And so Google's able to provide you with better lead qualities and better ad scores and things like that. So,
Definitely. Someone once told me, you are investing in your data.
yep,
And to me, that's the best way to look at that first intro period, that money spent. It's not money wasted. It's dating,
yeah, yeah,
finding your way to the right person and the right people.
yeah. No, absolutely. So that's a good point. I like it. So, all right, very cool. Let's move on to the next question here. So I've got a one I want to kind of pick your brain on because I know you have come from a very a good background in marketing. You have a lot of experience in different things. So where do you feel like banks tend to overcomplicate marketing? And I guess the same can be said for vice versa. Is where do you feel like they oversimplify it?
I love this question because you're kind of honing in on what just makes me so excited.
I love it.
So, um, I think that banks, and honestly, this probably can be said for any industry, but they tend to overcomplicate things by aiming for perfection
Yep.
the first time.
Yep.
So the key for good marketing in banking is iterations. And I know that we've got compliance to think about, and anything that you put out, you are speaking for the bank's image, the bank's voice. So of course we keep that at the forefront of all the decisions that we're making, but we don't have to run every ad by everyone from the CEO to the groundskeeper to
Hmm.
make sure that everything is good. Um, you go with what you think is going to work and you push it out there, and then you wait and see how it does. And
Yep.
if it works the first time, fantastic, you get the results that you want. And if it flops, that's fine. You still learn in the
Yep.
process, and you had talked about A/B testing, and I think that's where this comes in. You can really make things a little bit more simple by go ahead, get what you want going, and then start A/B testing little
Yeah.
minute parts of it
Yep.
and let your audience tell you what works best
Yeah.
because you don't know until you start it. So, um, yeah, being iterative and remembering that it's really nothing is failing. You're just learning.
Yeah. A- AB, I'm a sucker for A/B testing. Back many, many years ago when I was on the other side of actually running campaigns and optimizing, I used to I love diving into the data to figure out which things were working. And like what I think you nailed it perfectly of let your audience tell you what they want
Mhm.
to see. Look at the data. What are they clicking on? How many impressions? What are they converting on? Which ad campaigns and snippets and call outs and things like that are performing better? That's
Yes.
going to tell you. what they care about or the keywords. And so
Mhm.
I think if you really dive into that, you can get overwhelmed. You can, or at least for me, I can
Uh,
spend days looking at it. I love it.
yes.
And so, yeah, I think, that's something that if you really want to get into, you can look at, and it opens up so many more new worlds and so much more possibilities. So
And it's so fun. It's
it
so
is.
fun.
It is.
Yes.
Well, for people like us, it's fun. Some people may not find that fun, but I think you and I are like, oh, this is so cool. Let's go explore. And then
Mhm.
we're lost for 3 hours before we finally raise our head.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. And but to your other point where sometimes things are oversimplified, uh, I think that we can't treat marketing like it's in a vacuum.
Yeah.
And it's so important to get everybody on your team on board because going back to my business lending,
Hmm.
if you're running a campaign and you're getting leads and the leads are coming in and they're going to your sales team and then that's where it ends and you don't know if the leads are good, if the leads
Yeah.
closed, um, anything like that. If your customer care is getting calls about something, you unless we communicate, we don't know. So I think the biggest oversimplification is not being able to collaborate with all of your team
Hmm.
and sharing of that information. And there's really good there's CRMs that you can get to manage your pipeline and all sorts of different ways to automate things so it's
Yep.
easier for everybody. Um, but you definitely your marketing does better when you are collaborative with everyone else on your team.
Yeah. And I think there's nothing worse than reaching out to somebody, showing that interest and saying, "Hey, I am interested in your business. I would like to engage with you," and just nothing.
Hmm.
It happened to me years ago when we
Yes.
moved, like 2 weeks after I reached out, and we were already moving at this point. A moving company responded. I was like, it's too late now. And so yes, making sure that these leads are going to somebody's in charge of them, that you're tracking, because again, that loopback system, now you can start inputting this data back into Google Ads for better performance on the front end.
Hmm.
Everything starts to tie in together. And it goes back to what you were talking about earlier as well, of not overcomplicating, of making sure that the ads don't have to be perfect
Yeah.
when we get them. Just get them going. Learn as you go. That's what that dating phase is for. So
Yeah, definitely.
a lot of really good information there. That's awesome. Cool. So, all right, I got a last question here for you. So, what does when your eyes in your terms, when somebody says staying competitive, what does that actually mean for a community bank like First Bank of the Lake?
Yeah, for sure. So I think in today's digital world, we have to utilize that piece, that digital piece, without losing the relationship-based values that makes community banking different, in the first place. But it just opens up a whole new landscape, new potential clients and customers when you can leverage digital tools and platforms and things like that. So, as I move throughout life and come across different banks, it is interesting to me because there are some banks that still don't have online account opening, and there's different reasons for it. And you have to do what's right for your own bank. But I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, someone will just come down. They're going to come in and
Hmm.
open an account anyway." Well, absolutely. If your neighbor is going to open an account, go down and open an account in branch, absolutely. You've got that part of your customer base mastered. You've
Yeah.
got it. What you're losing out on by not having online account opening is people like me
Yep.
who will not go down to a bank branch.
Yeah.
I want to do it at home in my pajamas, while I'm sitting on the couch. So staying competitive means leveraging the digital tools that are available and out there
Hmm.
to open up your customer base. And, you know, in conjunction with that, um, as you look for online account opening platforms, here's my little tip. Look for companies that will allow you or help facilitate you watching how people go through that process.
Mm,
We're not talking about, get collecting people's personal identification info, identifying info. We're just talking about as they move from page to page or unique button clicks so you can follow their journey, see where they drop off, find out if there's something that is causing friction and you can go remove that friction. That ability to track your online account opening will just open up your marketing options
yeah.
exponentially. And keeping that in mind as you shop for the platforms so that you can ask questions and see what options they have is huge. And I would recommend that to everybody.
Yeah. Well, and you bring up a good point about the benefits of having that online account opening system. I think for a lot of the people that typically work 9 to 5 is kind of the same hours that the banks are typically open. And so it's like, okay, when do you go? If unless you're going to go during your lunch break, or if you're going to take time off work, when do you go to actually physically drive, walk into that branch and open up that account versus doing it online? Okay, I can do it tonight when I get home after dinner or after I put the
Mhm.
kids down.
Yeah.
And as the younger generation starts to come into the workforce as well, they've grown up on technology and cell phones and everything like that. Like, I think some of them would probably have anxiety attacks if they had to go in person to open up an account. Where
Yeah.
if you give them that option online, they're so comfortable with it. They're masters of this sort of
Hmm.
online world. And so now you can start going after the younger generation. You can go after the 9 to 5ers. And so these new opportunities start to rise by having that. Now, obviously, implementing something like that is no easy task, and you want to make sure you pick the right partner, but at least being open to the idea and working on that brings you so much more opportunities, like what you said, for potential business, new marketing opportunities, and growth too.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. Yeah, for sure. And then once you get the customers and you're growing and you're staying competitive,
mhm,
then the key is to become known for something. So
yep,
be the expert in that space. Decide what it is. Sit down with your internal, stakeholders and listen to the feedback from external stakeholders and decide what it is that you are going to be expert on. Um, everyone has a suite of products that they typically offer. Well, decide what it is that you want to
mhm,
be that expert in and start building content, campaigns, have a subject matter expert and become a trusted source for that valuable specialized solutions and information. And really, then that works hand in hand. And staying competitive today is really about making it easy for people to do business with you and giving them a clear reason to choose you over someone else.
yep, yep. And those are all those differentiators that help you stand out as well. Like I was talking with somebody a couple weeks ago, and they brought up the point of focus and do less. Find your niche, find what you're good at, focus on that. Okay, and if it's other things, figure out how you can outsource it or simply say no to.
Right.
Not everybody can be perfect at everything. You've got to find what you're good at and hone in on that. So,
Absolutely. And you can't be everything to
yep,
everyone.
yep,
So it's best not to try.
yep, yep. Find your one thing and be good at it. That's why we chose banking industry many years ago, and we're good at that.
Yes.
So we
Yes.
can't help you with any other industry like healthcare or anything like that, but we got you when it comes to banking. So we're pretty darn good at that. So, well, very cool, Mandy. Well, I really appreciate you joining today. It was wonderful chatting with you. I think you brought up some really good points that hopefully some people took away some good thoughts from. So, I really appreciate you joining us.
Thanks, Ryan. It's been great talking with you.
You as well. So, have a good one, Mandy.